Today we're going to take these 6 layers, combine them with all these wonderful ingredients. We're going to make some chocolate buttercream. First we're going to cream 2 softened sticks of butter in the mixer. To that we're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk and gently blend it in on low. Carefully scrape down the sides and wipe off the excess of the beater. And to that, we're going to add 1 cup of powdered sugar, and we're going to blend in. Notice I use a pulse mechanism. I'll start it and stop it and start it and stop it until it's blended. Next, I added another cup of powdered sugar and carefully blended that in. Here's yet our 3rd cup of sugar, and we're going to scrape down the sides eventually and mix it all in. Cup number 4 going in. Don't forget to scrape down the sides and the bottoms, and also don't forget to scrape down the beater. I've added my 5th cup of powdered sugar, and I'm blending that in, and I'm going to blend it well for about a minute or 2. You can see it's starting to hold a shape and a form, but it's not up to snuff yet. You've got to have it so it'll stand on its own, and it's not quite there. So we've got more sugar to add, but we've got to add the cocoa. To the remaining of the 2 pounds of bag of powdered sugar, I'm adding 2/3 a cup of Hershey's cocoa, unsweetened cocoa. Going in the bag, then we're going to fold it over and we're going to shake it up to mix the rest of the powdered sugar up with what is left. And aren't I talented? I'm doing this with one hand. Shake, 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 shake your booty. Woo! And there, my dear, we have a very well blended batch of cocoa and powdered sugar, to which we added into the cream mixture of butter and prior powdered sugar. Now take care and go slow because it's going to be powdery, and you're going to have to gently incorporate this in until it starts to come together. But don't be tempted to add any more milk. It's already got enough moisture in there. So once it starts forming that paste into that icing, you can crank it up and go faster. And we're going to scrape the sides down in just a few minutes. Now's the time you want to scrape everything all the way around to get all the remaining loose powdered sugar that it may be at the bottom, maybe on the sides, off the beater, everywhere. Scrape off the excess that you had on your spatula, and also you're going to add 1 teaspoon of a good vanilla here. Let's give this a final beating of about 1 minute to 2 minutes to make it smooth. And this, my dear friends, is the stuff that dreams are made of. Oh, yes. Yum, yum. Let's get this icing off this beater and start putting it on a cake. Isn't that a great idea? I'm going to start off with the chocolate icing into a piping bag with a star tip. And we're going to make a bullseye pattern. And that's going to allow us to evenly ice it and not have too much icing, but just enough in between the layers to hold them. We're going to make a zigzag pattern going back and forth. If you don't have a turntable, it's just going to be a little slower because you're going to have to turn the plate yourself. But go back and forth to evenly spread the buttercream icing. I've added another layer cut side down, and we're going to do the same bullseye pattern with the icing. And we're going to keep repeating this with all 6 layers, including the top layer. Here we have the 6th layer, and I'm completing the top of the icing here. And can you see the stuff that's sticking out on the sides, the excess icing? We're going to go with that actually to smooth that out first before we add any extra icing. And I'm just twirling it to make it even on the top. Just smoothing and turning it and holding the blade at a 45-degree angle to the cake actually helps ice most of the sides of the cake if you're careful. And we're going to add some more to it. Now I'm using the same piping bag with the chocolate buttercream to create a zigzag pattern up and down as I slowly turn it. And we're going to meet back up where I started. And then we're going to take the same offset spatula at the same 45 degrees and do the turn again to carefully smooth all of this out. And that's the name of the game, just smoothing it out and adding a little more where you need it if there's a hole, going back and forth until you're satisfied and you get it like you want it. Once you have it like you want it, you can start the decorative part of the icing of the cake. I'm doing an up and down pattern all the way at the bottom, and then I'm going to do the same thing up top. Now I'm using shorter, more careful strokes and using some extra icing to go back and fill in the spots that didn't take as well. So you just keep doing it until you're satisfied. Now I'm working and finishing up the top using a broad daisy-like stroke, creating petals back and forth from the middle to the side and slowly advancing it to make it kind of look like a flower. You can be finished after you do that, or if you want to do a little bit more advanced piping with the star tip, you can add a border. You can add a little centerpiece like I did, and you just go along and create a pretty zigzag or some type of scalloped edge. And you can practice with this on the back of a piece of parchment paper, and what you don't like, you can reuse. You can always clean up any edges at the bottom with a damp paper towel wrapped around your index finger, and you just go along and clean up anything that you need to. For those of you that would like to update your skills and pipe some writing, you can use the writing tip, which is a small round opening with another piping bag. And I saved a little bit of the buttercream before I put the cocoa in it to write a happy birthday message. So this is the same buttercream. It's just right before using the cocoa. You can even add sprinkles if you'd like and add to your happy birthday message. And here we are, a decorated buttercream chocolate birthday cake. And here's that same delicious chocolate buttercream piped and topped with pecans. You'll find the ingredients list in the description. Click the down arrow to the right of the title. You can use this icing also on cupcakes. Please subscribe. Thank you so much.